What's good, everyone? It's your boy Salos back again with another Pokemon video. And let me tell you something, okay? Because I know Pokemon, in the history of this channel, we haven't done a lot of Pokemon. But I'm not coming into Pokemon blind. I've been playing Pokemon since Pokemon Yellow. I have owned every single mainline Pokemon game. Yes, all of them. Even the ones that people don't really count, even though they are technically, canonically main series Pokemon games. I played the Let's Go games. I played Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl. Had an absolute blast with it. But I really got hard into competitive. This is a story in itself. But I was introduced to competitive Pokemon in Gen 3. And I really dived into competitive Pokemon in Gen 4. So I've been playing competitive Pokemon for probably longer than some of you guys have been alive. So I'm saying all this because I have a lot of knowledge, right? And at this point, I am not really going to tournaments. I'm not competing. I guess you could say I'm quote unquote retired, but I have a lot that I can share. I have a lot of knowledge up here and I have a lot of skills. I mean, I'm not really, I feel like a lot of stuff is just timeless information. Like, there are so many videos I see. How to build a team, how to EV train your Pokemon, how to check your IVs, how to breed, how to pass down moves, how to breed, like how to give Larvitar Dragon Dance, stuff like, I'm like, and they get like millions of views. I'm like, do people not know how to do this? Because to me, it's just common sense. I'm like, why I need to watch a video on how to EV train? Why do I need to watch a video on how to breed? I've been doing this but I've been breeding since we had to breed with macho braces. We had to breed with speed anklets. That's how long I've been breeding. So the fact that you can just kind of just pop two Pokemon in and you just let them hold like a destiny knot and then they just have all of their EVs. I'm like, this is so easy. Why did they need a video for this? So my point is saying that I'm not trying to sound egotistical. I'm saying that because to me, I just realized that I'm just not the majority of people. There are a lot of new Pokemon fans out there, and there are a lot of people that getting into competitive Pokemon is kind of intimidating. So I really just want to take the knowledge that I've learned, because I was the guy. I didn't have anyone to teach me this stuff. And you best believe on YouTube, you couldn't just go on YouTube and look up how to EV train, because all you would get is some 12-year-old kid pointing his cell phone camera at his Nintendo DS screen, and you hear his mom screaming, "Antonio, it's time for dinner. 1 second, mom." And then he's like trying to rush to get all the information out before he has to go to dinner. That's the kind of videos we got when I was trying to learn competitive Pokemon. So I'm gonna make an honest attempt. I did it a little bit at the end of Gen 8, but I'm going to make an honest attempt to try to make Pokemon a focus on this channel. And I really want to start at the very beginning, because the beginning of a Pokemon generation, and by the way, I probably should have started with this, but if you're already 5 minutes in the video, I'm pretty sure this doesn't apply to you anyway. But this is going to be more of a podcasty type video. I don't know how long this video is actually going to be. This is all unscripted. This is all off the cuff. So just put something on in the background. Do some chores if you need to. I know I have some artists out there. If you're drawing, just put this on in the background while you draw. If you're doing homework, I know some people can listen to podcasts while they work. I can't do that, but I know those people exist. So my point is, it's gonna be a longer video. So sit back, kick up your feet, and enjoy the ride. For me, the most exciting part of a Pokemon generation is the very beginning, because everything is so fresh and new. And I know that Pokemon is kind of known for, what am I trying to say, Smogon. And back in my day, I sound like an old man. Back in my day, we didn't have Smogon. No, Smogon's been around. Smogon is old as dirt. But back in the day, Smogon really had a hard time establishing themselves, because they were the guys who went around banning everything. They were the guys going around saying, you can't use this Pokemon, you can't use that Pokemon. And I feel like they've got some really good PR on their side in this day and age. Like people like Pokémon MD, who was an OG, by the way. He was around since I was like little. So he grew up on Smogon, and we're roughly around the same age. So there are people that understand, like, I feel like people on Smogon understand how imposing they are, because back in the day, I don't even know. I don't know the boards or people who are on Smogon, so I don't want to talk too down on the people who set the foundation. But it really did feel like that this is how you play competitive Pokemon. This is the rule set, and you need to follow it. Because Pokemon has become a lot more vocal with their side of the competitive scene. So there really is more of a choice these days. It's like if you don't like Smogon, just play the official Nintendo rules with VGC. But back in the day, VGC wasn't really a thing. So people would always use the argument that, oh, you don't have to listen to Smogon, you can always do what you want. But the reality of the situation was that Smogon was the only competitive rule set that we had. So it's either you played by Smogon rules or you didn't play at all, because because everyone followed Smogon rules. So you had no place to play how you want to play outside with your friends. And playing with friends, that's not a good way to grow. So I was trying to become the best. I was trying to become the very best, like no one ever was. So I love my friends, I love my boys who can play it and whatnot, but I was trying to get better. So I was kind of forced to play the Smogon rules, because if I didn't, no one would play with me. Like I said, that's not how things are nowadays. Like I said, you have people like Pokémon who are very open-minded. If they understand how stupid Smogon's rules are, like complex bans, and like Joey pushes for that all the time. Like, why is Blaze Cinderace banned, but Libero, like, why not just ban Libero and let Cinderace roam free in OU? Because as a complex ban, they'll do complex ban or some BS like that. My point in saying, I'm going on a tangent now. My point in saying that is, what was my point in saying that? Oh yeah, new generations. So let me just get back on track, okay? I'm sorry about that whole little Smogon tangent, but I've been in the game a long time. That's all I'm getting at, is that I've been in the game for a long time. But the beginning of a generation is always the most fun, because there is no man standing over you. It's the one time. It is like this very small window, like between when the game first comes out, and I want to say until like February. It's a very, very small window where Smogon has absolutely no idea what they're doing. There are no tiers. They don't know anything about the Pokemon because they're all brand new, and they don't know how to tier them. They don't know how to gauge a metagame, because Pokemon get balances. Sometimes Pokemon get buffed. Sometimes they get nerfed. They don't know how terrestrializing works. Smogon is absolutely clueless, and I love it because the floodgates are open. Everything goes. It doesn't matter. Everyone's excited. Everyone's using the new Pokemon. Everyone's using their Flood Cocos. Everyone's using their terrestrializing. Everyone's using their Paradox Dawn fans. It doesn't matter, because Smogon doesn't know how to regulate the game, because the game just came out. So it's this beautiful mess of, you'll see everything. There is no such thing as a stale team, because the stale teams, we don't know what's a good team yet. It's a brand new game. So the floodgates are wide open. Everyone is using everything under the sun. If you ever say that you play competitive Pokemon and it's too stale, or all the teams look the same, I guarantee you have not played Pokemon when the games first come out. Because when the games first came out, no one care about the meta, because there is no meta. There are no rules. The only rule is there are no rules. You go with your favorites, you use your knowledge to the best of your advantage, use the new Pokemon, you have fun, and the better man wins. That is just so much fun to me. So it is the only time it's like I said, it's a very small window, and it only happens at the beginning of every generation. It doesn't happen with BDSP, because technically we know how the meta goes. We know how Pokemon are. No, like, it kind of sort of happens like with Auras, like when you get new Pokemon, like new Megas. It kind of sort of happened with the Crown Tundra when old Pokemon came back, but it is nothing like having a brand new Pokemon, a brand new 100 plus Pokemon. being dropped in the game, new mechanics being added to the game. So this is like a 12-minute introduction. I told you guys this is gonna be a long video, and I don't care. I'm here for it. So I'm going to sit here and I'm gonna break up into parts. In this part, because it's gonna be way too long, we don't have all the information yet. But in this video, I'm gonna talk about the new starter evolutions. We don't have all their abilities. We have one, and I'm gonna talk about that one because that one is it's something. And then we're gonna talk about all the Paradox Pokemon. That's gonna be this video. So, and then when we finally get the full decks with all the new Pokemon and whatnot, then we're gonna talk about those as well. So, yeah, without further ado, let's finally get into this 13 minutes later. But let's go ahead and talk about Brigatito. He's a grass dark type, natural shift tree typing. Now I will say, because a lot of people don't know this, but being a dark type is actually a little good, because back in Gen 7, they made it so that dark types cannot be affected by Prankster. What that means is that if you run into, who's a Prankster Pokemon? If you run into a Klefki, right? Not even sure if Klefki's in the game, but it's the first status Pokemon I can think of. If you have a Klefki that uses Prankster Thunder Wave, then Meowscarada here will not get paralyzed. It's like, or if there's like, I don't think there is a Pokemon that can use Prankster Will-O-Wisp. I don't think that's a thing. But if there was a Prankster Will-O-Wisper, he couldn't be Will-O-Wisp. So if it has its priority increased by Prankster, dark types not be affected by that. It's a nice little defensive buff, and also grass types can't be status anyway. So things like Sleep Powder, Poison Powder, Stun Spore, moves like that, they can't work on them. So inherently, if it's not being done via cheese, or if it's not being done via status moves like normal Thunder Wave work on, like, so like if a Pikachu's Thunder Wave, it'll get paralyzed because Pikachu's not Thunder Wave based off speed. I mean, based off its ability, is getting its Thunder Wave based off of actual stats. Or if Meowscarada steps on Toxic Spikes, then it's still gonna get poisoned because it's not based off of boosted priority. But it is a nice little thing that people don't know about, so I figured I'd mention it. But its actual stats are right here, and I'll read them off just in case you're actually listening or not actually watching it. But its HP is going to be 76. Its attack stat is going to be 110. Defense is going to be 70. Special attack is going to be 81. Speed is going to be, special defense, I'm sorry. Special defense is going to be 70. And speed is going to be 123. Now, its hidden ability, this is the kicker. I mean, all stars have overgrown whatnot for their normal abilities, but its hidden ability is going to be Protean. And that is just, oh my god. Now, I did hear that Protean got a nerf. I'm not sure what the nerf is. When I get more into abilities and whatnot, I'll make my own separate video on that one too. But it kind of makes sense. I think it has something to do with terrestrializing, because shout out to my boy Radiant Reploid, but his justification for them nerfing Protean was like, so how's that gonna work with terrestrializing, right? Because every Pokemon has a Terra type, right? Like, let's just say Pikachu had Protean. That would be kind of crazy, but it obviously doesn't. But we all know that Pikachu, well, at least the special Pikachu, its Terra type is flying. So how would that work if you Terra type into a flying type just to immediately use Pikachu gets Grass Knot. So just to use Grass Knot, and then Pikachu immediately dips that flying typing to turn into a grass type. So does that mean that now it's a Terra Grass type? Does that mean does a flying type still apply, or is it going to be an invisible stab? Kind of like how even though it's a flying type, then Pikachu still gets electric stab? Like, how would that actually work? So I think that this is pure speculation. This isn't facts or anything, but I think that was the reasoning for its nerfing, that maybe you won't lose your Terra type, but all of your moves have like stab. Like when you, instead of Protean actually changing your type, all your moves get stab bonus. Maybe that's what it means, which I'd be fine with, because you're still getting the attack boost. You're just not getting all the defensive utility. Like, to go back to Greninja, because he was the first Pokemon to ever have Protean. One of the texts was that if you have a Greninja out, right, your first instinct is to Thunderbolt it. But Greninja got spikes. So people would use spikes to turn it to a ground type, tank the Thunderbolt, not take any damage at all, and then they also get a free layer of spikes. So that's also the same tech that Leon did in the Masters 8 right now. He, Cinderace used Scorching Sands, Pikachu used Thunderbolt, didn't do a thing, and Pikachu got that massive damage. Luckily, Pikachu didn't get burned by Scorching Sands. Could you imagine if Pikachu was burned right now? Oh my. Okay, I'm getting into the anime. Okay, let me stop. But what I'm saying is that I don't know how good or bad Protean is now, but every single Pokemon that's had Protean has gotten banned. So, yeah, I was scared. Not sure how long you're gonna be sticking around, but Cinderace had Libero, which was a renamed Protean. He got banned. Greninja got banned. I don't know, homie. Actually, did Greninja stick around in Gen 7? I think Greninja did stick around in Gen 7. Because, again, that'd be the whole complex ban argument. So I'm pretty sure it did stick around in Gen 7. Because I know that Ash Greninja was an absolute dominant force in Gen 7. Like I said, I wasn't really... My last real active competitive Pokemon scene was the ORAS meta back in Gen 6. So I'm a little out of shape, but don't get me wrong. You still catch these hands if you want them. But yeah, and let me just kind of put into perspective some of the Pokemon that have 110 attack. All right, I'm on the Cerebi page looking at Pokemon with 110 attack, and I severely underestimated 110. The Pokemon that have like around 110 attack, let me just read off the list so you guys can get the full picture. Arcanine, Dodrio, Scyther, Snorlax, Mewtwo, Swampert, Aggron, Lucario, Leafeon, Scoutland, Buffalon, Dualblade, Trevenant, Hoopa, Volcanion, Gumshoos, Kommo-o, Sceptile, Altaria, and Torterra. Not a very exciting list, not gonna lie. Of all those Pokemon, I think that probably the one that stands out the most would probably be Snorlax. But even Snorlax, his role isn't as an attacker. His role is more of like a tank, and he can just have a little bit more bite to his punch. Same thing with Swampert too. Like, I know offensive Swampers are a thing sometimes, but usually you're building those boys defensively. So, Pokemon that actually are good physical attackers. Let's go up a little bit. Let's see. Pokemon that actually have these are megas. Let's not count those. Conkeldurr is more of an outlier, 140 attack. That's more of like the outlier, not the exception. Metagross, 135 attack. Exeggutor, 135 attack. Dragonite, 134. Tyranitar, 134. Let's see, where's Cart? Because Cart's a really strong one. Dang, how far up is Cart? Okay, we're not gonna talk about Kartana. Okay, he reached Snark. I'll say 181 attack. Don't expect that from a starter. So, yeah, Scizor 130, Breloom 130, Garchomp 130. Terrakion 1. Okay, you guys get the point. Maybe 110 attack isn't the craziest thing around here, but he does get Moxie. Okay? And also... No. We're getting ahead of ourselves. He has Protean. So, actually, that's a good question. Let's since he does get Protean, let's go down to special attack and look at my boy Greninja. Because that's probably a better indicator. Because people always say that Greninja can't get kills without Protean, which is just insanely inaccurate. Like, is Greninja the strongest cat around? No, he's not. So let me just, why am I doing it like this? Let me just look up No, no. No, that's not what I'm trying to do. Can you stop that? Can you stop that? Just open another page. Okay. Greninja. And Greninja has 103 attack. So, I mean, yeah, 103 special attack. My bad. 103 special attack and 122 speed. So, our boy Sprigatiti, or Mascara, has 1 more speed than Greninja and 5 more offenses. No, 7 more offenses. My bad. So, yeah, Sprigatitos, don't sleep on them. Like I said, 110 attack, that's not... Okay, so difference between special attackers and physical attackers, because this does actually make this is a pretty relevant difference. There are, for my Fae players, it's the difference between hitting a defense stat and a resistance stat. Do you know how many physical, because most things have a lot of physical bulk and not so much special bulk. Like Toxapex is very physically defensive, Corviknight is very physically defensive, Blissey, sure, that's like one of the few special walls. There's Snorlax too, but no one really uses Snorlax. There's Goodra, but no one really uses Goodra. What's another very Cursula, I guess, but people don't use Cursula like that. Yeah, most people are more focused on taking physical hits because physical hits are the more scary things. Physical hits are your close combats, your earthquakes. So special walls are a little hard to come by. That's why special attackers kind of reign supreme, on top of the fact that physical attackers have to worry about getting burned. So at any given point, you could just hit and run into a flame body. And flame body, for those of you who don't know, for every contact move you do, you have a 30% chance to get burned. So it does come with consequences that being a physical attacker isn't the best thing in the world. So let's look at Cinderace too, since we're talking about Protean starters. Cinderace survey says 106. Okay, not the best comparison either. So Cinderace has 6 more attack. I mean, it's still in the same ballpark though. But yeah, we'll just have to play this one by ear. Again, Protean is just a busted ability, so I doubt this guy is gonna be too terrible. So take it with a grain of salt, okay? And we also gotta see the move pool, because the move pool will really call into question how many types it can turn into. So that's also another thing you gotta look out for. So we'll just wait and see on Sprigatito. But overall, it looks like it's really hard to say. It really depends on A, how much they nerf Protean by, B, its move pool. But overall, he doesn't look like a bad Pokemon. But we also, sorry to keep dunking on the poor guy, but let's look at my boy Inteleon, right? Because Inteleon on paper, Inteleon has 125 special attack, which is 15 more attack than this guy, well, 15 more offensive than this guy, and pretty much the same speed tier, 120. But Inteleon is currently ranked in the PU tier. PU, like, ew, it stinks. That's because Inteleon has a very terrible move pool. That's what I'm saying, you guys. It's really hard to call these things, but I cannot understand how Protean, like, that's actually pretty busted. But it all depends on how good that signature move is, because if it has something like Snipe Shot versus Pyro Ball, that ain't even a fair comparison, bro. Like, it really just depends, y'all. But enough about Sprigatito, let's move on to Fuecoco! So, Fuecoco, I'm just gonna put all three up here. If you want to see Fuecoco and Fuecoco stats, if you guys really care about that for Lolo Cup's sakes, then sure, whatever. I'm putting all 3 of them up here right now, but I'm just gonna go straight to Skeledridge. I'm just gonna call it Skeledridge, but yeah, he's a fire ghost type, and with the HP stat at 104, attack 75, defense 100, special attack 110, special defense 75, and speed 66. Oof, speed is He's a tanky boy, that's for sure. But with defense and HP, I'm really struggling here because being a ghost and fire type, I know I just said the whole thing about special attacks, but you have to keep in mind with ghost and fire though, like the most common types for those, so one of the most effective types for those are special attacks. Things like Surf, Scald, Shadow Ball. I guess you have like Phantom Force, I guess now Poltergeist is now coming up in the world, but I don't know, ghosts are not known for their bulk. Like if we go over to the ghost typing, like the only ghost I could think of that is actually worth something is Aegislash. So let's just go ahead and look at the ghost types. I guess you have okay, so you know what? Look, that's a really good one. So Marowak, Alola Marowak that is, because who talks about regular Marowak? It has 110 defense, and Skeledredge has 100 defense. So Marowak has 10 more defense, but its HP stat is 60, versus this guy's HP is 104. It also has the ability Unaware. Oh, it has Unaware. That's actually really good. If you guys don't know what Unaware does, it's basically an ability that negates buffs. So pretty much think of it for my Fate players as well. Think about it as like a lull, like an Omni lull effect, where it doesn't matter how many buffs your opponent has, you can always just cut through them. So, or you can always act like they're not buffed at all. So that's also why Pokemon like Quagsire are so good, because Quagsire is one of those Pokemon that's famously good for Unaware. It has an amazing typing. Water Ground is very hard to break because grass is not a very common move compared to Pokemon. So Quagsire just kind of runs around. He has moves like Haze to get rid of buffs. He has Gastrodon has Clear Smog. So there are ways that it kind of makes itself, that it can make itself good. And being a fire type is gonna have it's gonna have moves like Will-O-Wisp, and it's gonna have Hex to, you know what? Hex Will-O-Wisp, yo, that's gonna be extra kind of fire. And we still don't know what his special ability is gonna be. Well, his special, his signature move, I should say. If it's like something like Hisuian Typhlosion, where it's like a super Hex, where it has a chance to inflict burn, and it like does double damage when it's status. Oh my gosh, this guy could be something. This guy could be something. I'm already eating my own words, because also Alola Marowak was Fire Ghost, so but the thing is about Alola Marowak is that it was like the first Pokemon to have this fake triple typing, right? Because it had Lightning Rod, so it still retained its ability as a ground type, which I think really helped it, because you couldn't Volt Switch on it. You couldn't. It still had all those ground moves, and it had the Boomerang attack too. So also, yeah, that is a good point. What is Marowak's attack stat? Other page, Marowak, 80 attack, so doubled, so 160 attack versus 110 special attack. Again, it's not the best comparison, but let's see what it'll go. I think that Marowak is the best one. You know what? There is Mega Sableye too. So sure, I guess. But yeah, Dusknoir is not very good. Giratina is a legendary. Let's not get crazy here. Jellicent, 100 special defense. 100 HP, 105 special defense. You know what? That's another good comparison too, because Jellicent. What's Jellicent's abilities? Water Absorb and Curse Body. Yeah, Jellicent. I'm not gonna lie. I know that Jellicent was good in Gen 5. I just personally never ran into him like that. But I have heard good things about Jellicent. So I don't have any personal experience with it, but I do know that Jellicent was like one of the few good defensive ghost types, and that is because of its meaty HP stat. So it has 4 more HP, and defense is 100 versus Jellicent's 105. So it's at, I mean it's basically the same. It's basically it has the same bulk as Jellicent. That's actually a really good comparison. And let's look at that special attack. The special attack is going to be oh my gosh. Jellicent only had 85 and 60 offenses versus Scarlet has 75 and 110. Okay. So like I said, it's got Fuecoco's got potential. It's not useless. So I don't know how I feel about this one just yet. I am a very avid user of Alola Marowak, so that kind of changed my whole perspective right there. Special attacking, but the thing is that also Alola Marowak, he also has like Rockhead, and he like be like a super wall breaker, so he can run things like Flare Blitz. And yeah, pretty much just Flare Blitz. Yeah, just Flare Blitz. But yeah, Rockhead Flare Blitz, that thing hits like a nuclear warhead. If you really want to get crazy, I guess double edge. But everyone just spammed Flare Blitz. So it's got something. It's got something. All right, I'm not gonna count it out. But I think that we went through the best Ghost comparisons, but historically speaking, Ghost, it's like you have those few outliers. The only thing saving it, I will say this, is that Jellicent, and that is so close to Jellicent and it's so close to Alola Marowak that I feel like it has a chance to be good. Okay? Because I have a lot of experience with Alola Marowak. It may not be the best Pokemon around. I think, actually, if we're to look at Alola Marowak, Alola Marowak, let's look at its tiering. Right now, Alola Marowak is sitting in the RU tier, which isn't a bad tier at all. I'm not sure how good it is, and even yeah, it has like some OU usage, some UU usage as well. So yeah, Alola Marowak is not a bad Pokemon. I can attest to that. I love Alola Marowak. I will die for Alola Marowak. So I will die on that hill that he is a good Pokemon. So for Fuecoco fans, you gotta don't trip. Don't even trip that he's slow, because bulky Pokemon do have a place. Will he be the best wall breaker? Probably not, but I do think he has a chance to be good now. Now that I've actually seen like some good comparisons, it's a good place for him. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to my boy Quaxly. This is the one I'm leaning more toward. Like I said, I'm not sold on any of the starters so far, so this one's gonna be a little iffy. But let's go ahead and look at my boy Quaxly. So you guys can look at the Quaxly, but his final form is going to be Quadruple, I think. Quadruple. So yeah, it's gonna be a water fighting type, and this is what I was getting at earlier. He has HP 55, attack 120, defense 80, special attack 85, special defense 75, speed 85. Now, and he has the ability Moxie. Now, this is a Pokemon. Like, I do feel like 120 is a pretty good attack stat. Let me just double check that before I sound like an idiot again. Attack. Give me a second. So, current generation. I feel like that was Garchomp stats, right? Doesn't Garchomp have 120 attack? So I'm just gonna read out the whole list of what the Pokemon have 120 attack. Hitmonlee, Blaziken, Sharpedo, Crawdon, Luxray, Weavile, Dialga, Palkia, Druddigon, Reshiram, Genesect, Serena, Passimian, Grimmsnarl, Dragapult, Zarude, Giratina, Kyurem Frost, that is, Golem, Gramble, Donphan, Hariyama, Staraptor, Arceus, yeah, that makes sense, Grapplock, and that is all the Pokemon with 120 attack. So, the one that stood out the most to me is Blaziken. So let's look at what speed tier did Blaziken have. Oh no, it's a Blaziken, y'all. It's literally Blaziken. Blaziken has 80 speed, and This guy has 85 speed. Oh no. Oh no. I really wish I had speed boost now. I really wish I had speed boost. Because my whole argument was that it was going to be like Keldeo. But let's go look at Keldeo real quick. Keldeo. Keldeo has 129 and 108 speed. Another water fighting type. And Keldeo has been very consistently a very good water fighting Pokemon. But it's got Blaziken speed, y'all. It's got Blaziken speed. That's a little history lesson about Blaziken. Blaziken has always been a terrible Pokemon. The only reason, if you guys are newer to Pokemon, you know, Sales, what are you talking about? Blaziken's been, I've always known Blaziken be broken. Blaziken's been banned since Gen 5. But you want to know where Blaziken was before Gen 5? Garbage tier. No one used Blaziken because it was too slow to do anything. Freaking Pikachu outspeeds this thing. Like, oh my god. I'm really trying to think of a way to save this thing. Like, even if we go to Urshifu, I know Urshifu is kind of like to break this thing. But let's just look at Urshifu. I don't really know how it's gonna end. This is a stupid comparison. But it's all we have. Another water fighting type that's been dominating OU. 130 attack, 100 defense, 100 HP, 97 speed. 12 whole more speed than this thing. 12 whole more speed points. Like, if he could have at least hit 100 base speed, he'll be salvageable. Especially with Moxie too. Like, I don't even think that Scarf is going to do anything for this thing. Because people tried Scarf Blaziken, it didn't really do anything. The fact that he's so comparable to Blaziken is what's really killing it for me. Like, this guy could have all the coverage in the world, but he's not bulky at all. 80 defense, 75 special defense with 85 HP. I mean, it's enough to take neutral hits. Like, you can switch in on things, like, to make it a few aggressive plays, but it's not made to take hits. It's made to be a wall breaker, especially with Moxie. But, like, how are you supposed to... The only thing that can save this thing, at this point, is if it has a boosting move. Like, if it has a Dragon Dance or something. Because if it has, like, a Dragon Dance, then let's look at Dragonite. Because Dragonite takes a while to get going, but once Dragonite gets going, it kind of just destroys everything. So we're not gonna look at the attack stacks. I already know Dragonite cripples this thing. Yeah, it has 14 more attack. What do you freaking do? So yeah, Dragonite has 80 speed. This thing has 85 speed. So, but also Dragonite has multi-scale, and it's these defenses. Defense 95, special defense 100, HP 91. And again, this thing actually does it. 85 HP versus Dragonite's 91. I mean, that's close enough. 80 defense versus 95. No, that's not even close. Yeah. Man, this one hurts. This one hurts because I'm really leaning towards the duck. I think the duck is the one I'm gonna pick. So this one hurts. This one actually hurts. Like, I was ready to dick on Fake Coco, people. I was ready to ruin y'all's hopes and dreams. Like, haha, you guys have a slow molasses wall. Ghost types are known for being durable. To be a good ghost type, you have to be fast. I was ready to roast y'all's Fake Coco fans because I have not seen the appeal to Flake Coco. I was ready to rip y'all a new butthole. And then I looked at the stats and the 3 good ghosts in the entire game. The only 3 good defensive ghosts in the entire game. Flake Coco actually match up to their stats. So it's like, I can't even talk trash. I can't even talk trash about Flake Coco. Flake Coco might end up being the best one. Because, again, we don't know, like, it all depends on the on the weak cat. It all depends on his moveset. Flake Coco, all he needs is Earthquake. That is literally all he needs. Then he's just a better Alola Marowak. Actually, no, he's a special attacker. So he needs Earth Power. But Alola Marowak, he has no coverage. Fire Ghost is just that good. It's like Primarina. It doesn't matter what coverage he gets because Fire and Ghost Stab is just that good. He's gonna get Flamethrower. He's gonna get Shadow Ball. He's gonna get Hex. And then you got Will-O-Wisp support too. Like, Fuecoco might be the best one of the three. I'm not sure. And it's like you can't even wall him out because he has Unaware. So it's like, I was ready to come for y'all Fuecoco people, but now it looks like my boy might be the worst one. Like, I'm pretty sure I'm still gonna stick with the Duck. Like I said, I don't feel strong about any of these guys. I'm being real. I don't feel for any of these guys. This was gonna be a joint video, but yeah, this video is kind of long as is, so I'm gonna have to cut it here with the star discussions. So, final thoughts. I'm just gonna wrap it up, and I'm gonna make another video for the what's it called, the freaking Delta Pokemon or whatever. So, I'm obligated to say that Mascara or whatever, I think that he's probably going to end up being the best one, because Protein is just that good. It's just that good, you guys. The only way that is not going to be good, which I don't see this happening, is if he, like, literally only gets Dark and Grass moves, which would be absolutely stupid if they did that. Like, even Cinderace doesn't have the best coverage in the world. Like, I think that Cinderace, in all of its moves, it can get fighting moves, it can get fire moves, it gets fighting, fire. If you're really pushing it, it gets bounce, so flying, and Gunk Shot, and Sucker Punch. So that's 5. I mean, that is pretty good coverage. That's 5 out of the 12 types, out of the 14 types. So that's almost a third of all types. So yeah, Cinderace is pretty busted. Never mind, it's not a good comparison. But let's look at one more thing. Sceptile. I just want to see how many coverage moves Sceptile gets, because Sceptile, I think, is the most versatile grass type when it comes to just the amount of moves it gets. It gets Dragon, so that's 1. It gets Fury Cutter, or X Scissor, so that's Bug, that's 2. It gets Grass, obviously, that's 3. It gets Fighting, that's 4. It gets Thunder Punch, that's 5. It gets Earthquake, that's 6. It gets Cross Poison, that's 7. I think we could stop at 7, but let me just look at the whole list. It gets Iron Tail, that's 8. It gets Rocked. Am I reading this right? Am I repeating types? Yeah, he gets 9. So yeah, Sceptile gets 9 out of the 14 types. So yeah, it's like, if they want to go crazy with it, if they really want to go crazy with this magician, Sceptile is right here showing that grass types can have crazy move pools. So I kind of, it's a very iffy, it's a very slippery slope. But the fact that every single Protean Pokemon has been banned. Cinderace, banned. Greninja, first one, banned. So it's really hard to make an argument that this guy is not going to be good. Second one, Fuecoco. I was ready to come for y'all. I was ready to put this guy in dead last place, and I had every argument planned out. I was plotting for you guys. I was ready to come for you. But, like I said, Fire Ghost is just a very spammable type combination. It's very good. It's a very good wall-breaking type. You have moves like Overheat, Flamethrowers. It could go in Sun. You have Will-O-Wisp support to cripple down and to make your defense even that much more bulky. Like, Fuecoco, like, I can't even talk trash about y'all. I really can't. The one I think who's easily the worst is Quaxley over here, because he just doesn't have the speed to do what he wants to do. The only, he has, his signature move, it has to be a Dragon Dance equivalent. That's the only way this dude's gonna be good. He has to get a Dragon Dance equivalent. And that's a very big ask. Let me just stress that right now. That is a very, very big ask. Or if his signature move, it's like an offensive Dragon Dance where he boosts his attack and speed as he uses his signature move. Kind of like how Rillaboom had Drum Beating, where it lowers the opponent's speed and made him artificially fast. It's gotta do something like that. because he doesn't get speed boosts, so it's rough, y'all. It's rough. My Quaxly fans, I'm sure. I think that is the rating. I think that Mascara is number 1. I think Skeledridge is number 2, and the water one is in dead last. The second time in a row that they screwed the water starter, but whatever. I'm about to end the video. If you guys like this, then hit a like. It means a lot. Support the boys, support the dreams, support the channel. But I'm about to get up out of here. I'm gonna have some lunch, and I'm gonna come right back in and talk about the Paradox forums. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Till then, deuces.